during childbirth, which are the long vowels, like I, O. Interesting. O, ooh. Not actually, just E is the richest, so E has to be last. So it needs to be I, O, U, and then A. A, and then feel, peace. It's the E that is like the return to reconnection. Like there's something about, it's an activator, but it can't be like, it's best primed. Okay, so when someone feels all of their energy like it's like super compressed within them, if it feels really super compressed and they can like feel that intensity, what is needed is like deep breaths. But people will be like, oh, take a deep breath, and people are like want to say like fuck you. But what they really need to do is emote, but they maybe aren't in a place to emote, and therefore just emoting some of those deep healing sounds through vibration starts to transmute the energy. So it's like waking up the meridians in the body and then reconnecting them to that vagus nerve, where the E is like, it kind of is like the reset.
So what order should they do them in again?
I, because we need to start with self. So I feels empowering, which makes it easier to do as well. And then O, and then U is is the up, is the It's not the IOU, it's IO and then it's and then it's E. No, it's not it's you, like universe. Sorry, they're showing me the stars for the length of your breath. So it's like right? It's the length of the breath, because it's like the ongoing vibration. It's not I, right? It's the length of the breath that is the
What does a combination of those sounds do for people?
It's like a recentering, Do you remember those like bouncy clowns? They were weighted on the bottom and you blew them up and then you punched them and they moved in every direction?
Yeah.
But you could never really control what direction they were really going. It's like holding it still again. It's like a reset. And it's like a meditation for people who don't want to sit still for very long. There's a fear in it because there's an emoting element to it. So it's not something that a lot of people will readily embrace unless they're taught it from a very young age by a wellness teacher.
Do the different vowel sounds associate with any particular energy centers?
All of them. So yes, the vowel sounds actually connect with all of the energy centers within and outside of the body, because what it does is it like activates the nerve, which then stimulates the pineal gland, which then also connects to the energy centers outside of the body. So it's also bringing that harmony in from outside all the way in. And the more it's practiced with intention, the greater, I'm going to use the word control, but it's not control, it's nuanced. The greater nuanced the vibration will become over time, because the body knows what the body needs. So this is a way of recalibrating. And right now they're showing me Gabor Mate, and I have no idea why, but they're showing me him and how he understands that the vibration plays a piece in it. And I've never seen anything by Gabor talking about vibration.
He does talk about vagal nerve stuff.
Right, so maybe he does talk about vibration. They're also telling me that this will help with ADHD.
Well, it makes sense, because ADHD is a trauma response in many ways. So the activities to try and calm down that trauma response. And so by doing a reset and stabilizing the clown, it might help them focus a little bit more.
And the way to remember it is IOUAE energy reset. IOUAE energy reset. Not IOU. My consciousness. The you is a consciousness. It's not this you, it's that you. It's so funny, they're like, it's this you, baby. They're like, this. It's so funny.
And you're holding your arms above your head.
Yeah, like a giant you, like you are like, it's like this. It's like, I am the vessel. Fill me.
So an interesting fact, which I think I've shared with you.
Are you recording this?
recording.
Because I'm like, you're going to connect some dots. Go ahead.
An interesting fact is that the vowels, when you make those sounds, create torus fields. So a torus field is where the energy goes up through the center and around the sides, like this.
Really?
Yeah. So they have a particular energy shape to them. And torus fields are very important from a spiritual point of view. Like, if you do Metatron's cube meditation, it's about creating a torus field. And the interesting part, although I wish I got the conversation from the beginning, because at first I didn't realize you were channeling, but I realized pretty quick, but the conversation that these are the sounds people make during childbirth is what you said. And it kind of makes sense why people are making sounds that help stimulate vagal nerve to try and maintain sort of stability during intensity.
There's a patterning around the brain that's being missed right now for a lot of kids. And it's like they're struggling to connect their left and right brain. Again, it's like that infinity symbol. And they're struggling to... Okay, stay with me, because I don't really know where these parts are exactly. But they're struggling to connect their left and right brain because their pineal gland is different, because they are the new wave, and as they are coming in, the world around them is keeping them less and less connected to that. And so as they're less and less connected to it, it causes the differences, right? It causes the extreme behavior, it causes the extreme emotion, it causes the extreme impulsivity, it causes the extreme choice making or lack thereof. Like also like that they don't feel that they have a voice. And so what's happening is like there's such a disconnection between left and right, and they need the world needs the reconnection of left and right? Because in many ways technology prevents us from actually connecting left and right wholly, right? Left and right is really only truly connected through human connection. And the other piece is that there's also, like, if you can imagine the left and right again as an infinity, where it centers is at that pineal gland, right? Like at all that is, right? That is the opening to everything. And so the more that there can be that reconnection for people, the more that reconnection will help create more true connection, right? To raise that consciousness. And you know what, it's not even, we call it a raising of consciousness because we know it's a different dimension and a different frequency and the number is higher, but it's not really raising as much as it is returning.
Well, it's a remembering. It's a remembering of where we've come from. Because the 3D and the ego causes people to separate things out. And there's been an imbalance of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. And in many ways that has led to an over-emphasis on the left brain as opposed to the right brain, the creative brain, and the nurturing brain. But really it's about the harmony of both, creating that infinity, that flow between the two sides.
And perhaps if our genders were actually identified by how we functioned, what percentage of ourselves we functioned in one portion of our brain or another, the world would actually look quite different.
I think the part of the issue is that people are still so tied to the physical expression of gender through sex, and so yeah, I mean, I think that realistically we all have both energies within us, and some of us are going to lean one direction or the other depending on what's fostered or what is inherently strong in us. But denying the other half handicaps us. And I think that's the problem with the gender constructions.
I agree.
Right? And again, it's all part of that problem of just focusing on the physical and observational, and also this obsession with creating separation and breaking things into parts instead of viewing the whole. And so we have this new generation that are coming in with greater connection to that consciousness, or the potential for greater connection to the consciousness, because all that is really, it's not elevating consciousness, it's more just recognizing our connection to the existing consciousness, and that it's not a separation. Like the messages you're getting are
random.
Well, they're not random, they're actually building on one another. Because if you think about the message yesterday about the vagus nerve and the pineal gland being like the purple crystal at the top of the staff, and sort of recognizing that that is kind of the connection to universal consciousness, then what this message today is basically saying is a way to help people slow down the chaos, stimulate vagal nerve so that they can potentially connect to all that is in a way that doesn't necessarily involve sitting down and staying still. That is one pathway. But I think that one of the things that they're saying here, and I think the reason they brought it ADHD, is that I think there's a lot of people who don't feel like they can sit down and meditate.
Right.
But this is another pathway to it. And with young people who are coming in with greater sensitivity to energy and everything else, which, the crystal children, the fact that they're sitting down and meditating is probably very hard for a lot of them, because they're in this hypersensitive space, whereas getting them to tone might also be really important strategy. And I think that we've been getting a lot of messages around toning, which you just said helps go back to returning to the consciousness, connection of consciousness.
So this is what they're telling me. Okay. So right now, the dominant energies are Mike, Mary, Mabel, and Osira. She shows me as like a priestess. I don't know. Osira is what I'm getting. Osira, priestess. And they're like, if we can give you more tools to connect, then the connection becomes stronger. And it is a wave of love that is building. And it is a wave of light that is building. And this is a way to help souls trapped in human bodies right now be able to manage the experience of being in a human body right now. And so this creates a sense of peace and calming within the human body, and also creates an expansion of consciousness outside of the human body. And it's really important to recognize that the E in peace is present for a reason. And so that also creates that energy of peace within and without. But right now, the essential is having real, meaningful tools and putting them out there and offering them so that people have those tools for themselves and others. Because we are all one.